Lucian is a sad orphan who lost everything in a war. However, when he is about to die, his crush kisses him, unlocking his ancient powers of the strongest dark mage ever, and destroying all of his enemies. At the start, a part of the Dark Rebel army, led by an evil wizard Osborne, are invading the kingdom of Metallicana, wanting to eliminate Princess Sheila. While everyone is panicking inside the castle, one brat, Lucian, is pissing his pants in fear, and his guardian, Yoko, has to calm him down. While hugging the scaredy cat soy boy, Yoko remembers how her father, the Grand Priest, told her that he locked away the dark wizard, Schneider, inside Lucian. He then told her that the only way to wake him up is by giving Lucian a kiss from a virgin, so he ordered Yoko not to get clapped until then. As they hear their enemies approaching, the princess approaches Yoko desperately, begging her to release the secret weapon within Lucian to save them from doom. But knowing that she has to munch on Lucian's lips, she refuses to do it. Suddenly, the Dark Rebel army breaks inside, and having giants on their side, they clean house, ragdolling the puny soldiers like their ants. While still hesitant, Yoko and Lucian are attacked, and Lucian gets knocked out and bleeding. Seeing the bloodbath around her, Yoko realizes that she has no other choice. So she whispers the spell to Lucian and gives him a juicy kiss. In that moment, powerful dark energies surge out of Lucian, so powerful that the Dark Rebel army feels fear, and Lucian transforms from a little pathetic soy boy into the absolute chiseled Chad Schneider, whose face makes your mom call him daddy. Schneider declares that he will chop off the Grand Priest's head for sealing him inside a stupid brat, but before he gets to do it, the Dark Rebel army tries to jump him out of fear. In one attack, Schneider obliterates two giants, surprising everyone. Yoko asks who he is, and Schneider introduces himself as both Schneider and her friend, Lucian, but everyone recognizes Schneider as the Dark Wizard who started wars years ago, even taking Sheila's brother's life during it. Sheila's men demand that Schneider helps them defeat the enemies, but Schneider declares that everyone there will die except for Yoko, because he has no interest in helping anyone. But then, Yoko scolds him like a mother scolding her son, telling him to help, or she won't talk to him anymore. Not wanting to lose her and her hot cheeks, Schneider agrees to help, earning himself a hug from Yoko. Meanwhile, the Dark Army's leader, Osborne, is annoyed by their yappings and says that Schneider is committing blasphemy for using Schneider's name. Osborne sends his goons to attack, but using one magical spell, Schneider completely yeets the army from existence. Everyone is in shock at the power displayed, and Osborne, being the last one standing, declares that he will end all of them. He charges up a lightning-based spell, scaring everyone, and uses it on Schneider, which results in him turning into charcoal. Osborne laughs and beats him up, saying that he's a phony, but suddenly, Schneider turns back to normal. But when he sees a scratch on his pretty face, he gets furious and uses a magic spell called Venom and completely burns him until he turns into nothing. Everyone celebrates the victory, and Sheila wants to thank him, but Schneider ignores her and approaches Yoko. He demands she say something, and when she shyly thanks him, Schneider feels satisfied and walks away. Outside, Yoko stops him and asks where he is going. Schneider tells her his plan to get revenge on her father for sealing him and conquer the whole world, while eliminating everyone in his way. However, he adds that he will keep Yoko alive. She can stay by his side. He pulls her in closer, making her feel all tingly inside for him. But when she asks if he has feelings for her, he says that he hates her so much before suddenly smooching her. But then, because of the kiss from a virgin, Schneider transforms again, back to the soy boy, Lucian, who has no idea what happened. It surprises Yoko, but she brushes it off and keeps it a secret from Lucian, saying that the monsters were scared of his aura. Then, as they walk away, Yoko asks Lucian if he likes her, and he says that he does. Far away in the kingdom of Judas, the other dark army, filled with soldiers who look like Walmart guts, and led by Timu Griffith, hears about the Venom spell being used, and is in disbelief to hear another wizard using it. Their leader, Kalsu, decides to find out who it is by sending Kevin, a Hydra summoner, to test him out, while they finish up taking over the kingdom of Judas. Meanwhile, Yoko finds himself in a place she doesn't recognize, looking like a whole meal, right in front of Schneider. He approaches her, holds her, and makes her see his dream of taking her father's life, and using his demonic army to take over the world. Yoko jolts awake from her nightmare, and when she finds Lucian sleeping beside her, she blames him for that nightmare. The next morning, the two enjoyed breakfast, and when they step out to the city, they see a dark cloud heading towards them. Yoko's father, the Grand Priest, Sodto, asks them to follow him to the castle, knowing something bad is about to happen. There they meet with Sheila, the king, and everyone they saved the other day, panicking after hearing the fall of the kingdom of Judas at the hands of monsters. The king and Princess Sheila thank Yoko and Lucian for saving them, but Yoko informs them that Lucian doesn't remember a thing. Then, the Grand Priest brings their attention to the issue and warns everyone that with monsters everywhere and the dark clouds, he fears that the demon god, Anthrasax, is about to be resurrected. Just then, they receive information that a Hydra is attacking their city, drowning the whole city in flames, and they know that a wizard is behind this monster being here. Out of desperation, the people there and even the Grand Priest ask Yoko to awaken Schneider once again, but she refuses, not wanting to have that beast of a man lurking around her again. But knowing they have no chance of winning, Yoko agrees, and because of embarrassment, she asks Lucian to close his eyes. When he does it, she says the spell and kisses him, summoning Schneider. Everyone is happy to see him and ask him to fight for them, even promising to give him anything. But Schneider refuses, unless everyone on the planet bows down and licks his crusty toes. He then turns his attention to Sodto and demands his head, and out of fear, the guards try to capture him, but he easily defeats them, leaving him with Sodto. The two are about to bring the house down, but just as Schneider is about to have his revenge, Yoko stops him and scolds him for wanting to hurt her father. When Schneider talks back, Yoko threatens to smack him and says that he should be helping them. However, he refuses to help her again and says that she can't force him. Schneider turns his focus to Sodto, and using a lightning spell, he charges up a deadly blow. But when he shoots it at Sodto, the old man easily blocks it with a holy shield, protected by God, and tells Schneider that all his spells are useless. It leaves Schneider with nothing but hand-to-hand combat. But he remembers that Sodto is a warrior monk who trained with Batman, which he knows he can't win against. So, without much of a choice, Schneider cuts himself and pours out his own blood to the floor. He says that he knows that there is a golem under the castle, as it's the same golem he used years ago during the war, and now he is waking it back up. Using magic, he opens a magical channel, demanding the golem to answer to its former master. And to everyone's shock, the golem rises from the ground, towering over everyone, while carrying the strength capable of destroying Sodto's holy shield. Yoko tries to speak some sense to Schneider, but his mind is already made up, and he wants to send Sodto into an eternal sleep. The guards try to stop it, but the golem easily goes through them. Watching this, Yoko stands frozen in fear, refusing to believe that this bloodlustful man is the same sweet and innocent Lucian that he knows. But suddenly from outside, a third party arrives in the form of Kevin, the Hydra summoner, who has been looking for Schneider and is here to see if he is the real deal. He introduces himself as the disciple of the almighty wizard Kalsu of the Dark Rebel Army, and when they hear the name Kalsu, everyone knows that trouble is brewing. However, Schneider is more focused on the fact that he is bleeding from the rubble that hits his face when Kevin made his entrance, and that pisses him off. He tells Kevin that his fish leaps, pig face, ugly self should never ruin the pretty face Schneider owns. The insult hurts Kevin, so he sends his Hydra into battle, but Schneider sends his own golem to face the Hydra, turning it into a battle between Gundam and Kaiju. But despite its best effort, the golem wipes the floor with the dumb lizard, shocking Kevin. He jumps in out of anger, but Schneider punches him harder than a drunk husband from the 70s, sending him to the floor. And wanting revenge for his pretty face, he charges up a spell, the same one he used before, Venom, and completely deletes Kevin and his chopped face from existence. With Kevin gone, Schneider laughs and turns his attention to his earlier target, Sodto. He sends his golem to smush him into mashed potatoes, but before it does, Yoko jumps in and hugs Schneider, begging him to stop. She pleads that the Lucian she knows would never do that, and Schneider is nothing but the evil wizard who started a war. She demands that Schneider give Lucian back to her, and seeing her pleading, Schneider softens up, saying that he is Lucian and inside him are two entities at once, Schneider and her sweet Lucian. So, whoever Lucian loves, Schneider loves her too. To prove his words, Schneider grabs Yoko's face and kisses her, turning himself back to Lucian and deactivating the golem. Seeing Lucian, Yoko hugs him, even though he has no idea what happened. Meanwhile, outside of the castle, the dude who looks like Guts, Gara, and his ninja crew bear witness to what just happened, and with Kevin obliterated by Venom, they conclude that Schneider, the man who led the 4 divine kings, has come to life. One of the ninjas asks Gara why Schneider is not helping them, and Gara tells him that they will find out. But if Schneider chooses to side with the kingdom, then he will be the most powerful enemy they have faced, which Gara, the sandless ninja master, welcomes as a challenge. Just then, 2 guards confront them, but the ninjas disappear, and Gara slashes them both to pieces. Back in the castle, the Grand Priest Sodto informs everyone that from the dark clouds surrounding them, it means that the Demon King, Anthrasax, is close to being resurrected. He explains that years ago, the Demon King was sealed by 4 seals, with each seal protected by a royal family. But knowing that the kingdom of Judas is destroyed, he suspects that the seal is broken. The priests suspect that Kalsu is behind this, and hearing that name, Yoko asks who he is. Sodto tells his daughter that Kalsu was one of Schneider's disciples and his closest friend, who fought alongside him during the war, and that he carries power that even rivals Schneider's own magic. Meanwhile, at the Kingdom of Judas, Kalsu is watching closely as his plan to resurrect the demon god is getting closer, and his priests tell him that they will have to destroy all the seals, starting from the one in the Kingdom of Metallicana. Back with Yoko, they ask her to wake up Schneider once more, but she refuses, not wanting to see that brute again, let alone kiss him. She insists that she and Lucian are not their tools, and while the priests know that they need him, they'd also know it is risky to bring him back. Back home, Yoko is frustrated that her precious kisses are being wasted, but seeing that Yoko is in distress, Lucian cheers her up by playing with her. Later that night, while Lucian is sleeping, Yoko is haunted by what Schneider said when he told her that he loved her like Lucian loved her. It makes her question which is the real Lucian, and who is the person she grew up with over these years. But seeing how sweet and innocent Lucian is, she refuses to let him turn again, even while there is a giant war brewing. Back in the Metallicana castle, the soldiers are all anxiously preparing for battle, while Sheila is by herself, focusing on other things. She feels all tingly after seeing Schneider twice in his birthday suit, and is haunted by the sight of the elephant's trunk that was there, which makes her jealous that Yoko gets to have such a stud for herself. Just then, while some guards are talking, they are suddenly attacked by Gara and his team of ninjas. Gara then shows up in Yoko's room, and she quickly gives Gara the 2-piece chicken nugget combo, managing to push him back a bit. But with his ninja quickness, he captures Yoko, ties her up, and demands she tell him where the reincarnation of Schneider is. She realizes that Gara wants to get Schneider on their side, so she refuses to say and tells Gara to go back to losing to Naruto in the Chunin exams.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Gara tries to intimidate her by saying that he will do freaky things to her. But in that moment, Lucian wakes up, and when he sees what is happening to Yoko, he turns into Schneider and orders Gara to get his filthy hands off his woman. Gara recognizes his voice, while Yoko is surprised that he can appear by himself. Schneider informs her that the seal is weakened, and when Lucian is asleep, Schneider can take over his body. Suddenly, the Grand Priest and the others barge in to save Yoko, but Gara summons his giant wyvern, grabs Yoko with him, and escapes, while telling Sodto that if he wants his precious daughter back, he has to bring Schneider to him. Yoko asks the fake guts where he's taking her, and he shows her a castle he calls his ninja hideout. Meanwhile, Sodto tells the king what just happened, and the king is worried that Kalsu and the others are looking to convince Schneider to join them. They don't know where Gara took Yoko, but they know one person who does, which is Schneider himself. But they realize that without Yoko here with them, they have no one to wake Schneider up. However, Sheila sees this chance and presents herself as Yoko's substitute, saying that she is a virgin maiden who has never experienced a slimy pickle before.
Oh my.
While everyone agrees to her proposal, the king refuses, saying that for a princess like her, a kiss is a sign of marriage, and the king doesn't want Schneider's lips to be the first thing she kisses. But Sheila tells her father that Yoko has worked hard for their kingdom, so they have to pay her back by saving her. Seeing the king's refusal, the Grand Priest orders the others to take the old geezer to his room, so they can have Sheila perform the ritual. Sodto then teaches Sheila the spell, and while she is about to perform it with Lucian, the other priests worry that this will go wrong, but the Grand Priest believes that since Schneider has been sealed inside Lucian for years, he has grown softer, especially with Yoko by his side all this time when he was Lucian. Then, with the hope that he will save them, Sheila speaks out the spell and kisses Lucian, awakening Schneider once more, who is annoyed that some other chick other than Yoko kissed her. Sodto then tells Schneider what happened, and as a father, begs him to save her daughter from his old ally Gara's hands. But to their surprise, Schneider refuses, saying that he's happy that Yoko is gone, as he can now do whatever he wants. Sheila reminds him that he loves Yoko, but Schneider despicably states that when he conquers the world, he can have any woman on his joystick from Mi Khalifa to even Princess Sheila herself. Seeing that he doesn't care about Yoko, Sheila gives him the Will Smith, calling him a disappointment, which angers him. But Schneider ends up folding, and he takes Sheila and soldiers to Grave Valley, believing that Gara hasn't moved his base out of it. The soldiers wonder why they haven't been attacked by any ninjas yet, and as if they jinxed it, ninjas show up out of nowhere, confronting them. The soldiers tell Sheila to get behind them, but the princess insists she can fight. However, she almost stabs her own soldiers, proving she has no clue what she's doing. Meanwhile, with one lightning spell called Anthem, Schneider strikes them all down with ease. The soldier's captain expresses his amazement at Schneider's famous magic missiles, and he urges Schneider to use more of his dark magic. Then, seeing how Sheila almost cost a soldier's life, Schneider scolds her for being a useless hoe and tells her to take off her armor and sword so as not to slow him down. While the soldiers object to his freaky demands, Sheila realizes that he's right, so she drops her sword and takes off her armor, revealing that she's wearing clothing that would make men drop to their knees and bark, including the soldiers. As they get closer to the castle, they are stopped by a giant gate that looks indestructible, but Schneider has an idea. Meanwhile, Yoko is being held captive by Gara, who demands to know how to break Schneider's seal from Lucian, but Yoko refuses to say out of embarrassment. Trying to get into her head, Gara accuses Yoko of being in love with Schneider, and when Yoko aggressively says that she is not, Gara uses it as bait. He tells Yoko that she's not the only woman in Schneider's heart, considering the Chad is packing an absolute hog and has lived hundreds of years. When Gara asks her to guess his body count, Yoko shyly guesses 10 women, but Gara laughs and says that Schneider has about 300 baddies who experienced his slimy pickle.
What? What?
And one of them is even one of his 4 disciples, and one of the 4 divine kings. She asks if they were in love with each other, and when Gara refuses to answer, Yoko starts doubting Schneider. Then, wanting to embarrass Yoko, Gara drops the slime near her, saying that it's a special slime that eats clothes out of people's bodies. Yoko squeals out of fear at it, but the slime latches onto her and melts her clothes, giving Gara and the boys a show, all the while Yoko is begging Schneider to save her. Suddenly, Schneider blows up the front gate, and the explosion can be felt by Gara, who knows exactly that only Schneider would be this reckless. The ninjas urge Gara to make a move and stop him, but Gara tells him to just enjoy Yoko's show, confident that Schneider and the others can't get past the labyrinth of death. When they see that Yoko is still struggling, they choose to agree with Gara and simply enjoy the show with one hand occupied. Back with Schneider and the others, they manage to get inside the castle, but they face a minotaur that's guarding the entrance, towering over them. Just then, Schneider pulls Sheila away from an attack, and she squeals when she feels his hard body. Realizing that it is the second time he has manhandled her, she quickly slaps him and calls him a creep, but he merely brushes it off. Just then, he spots a ladder heading up and quickly urges everyone to climb it. But before they do, Schneider orders the soldiers to stay and fight the Minotaur, while he and Princess Hati climb the ladder. The soldiers try to reject, but Schneider uses it against them, calling them cowards who refuse to fight for their beloved princess Sweet Cheeks. And hearing that, they get fired up and fight against the Minotaur. Schneider then urges Sheila to climb first, so he can protect her just in case the Minotaur attacks, but Sheila refuses, not wanting him to be able to see her magical cave. He insists that he will watch, but she takes it the wrong way and slaps him, calling him a freak. Schneider takes it personally and carries her on his broad shoulder while he climbs the ladder. But with every movement he does, Sheila can feel him, causing tingly sensations all over her body, making her want to scream and scream. When they get to the top, before Schneider gets to put Sheila down, a giant eyeball monster pops up, attacking them. Then, Schneider tries to counter, but the monster's shield barrier is strong enough to withstand his spells, making it difficult for Schneider to win, and for the first time, Sheila sees Schneider struggling to win. He shoots another anthem, but it surprises him when the missile magic doesn't hit, and the monster shoots lightning at him, forcing Schneider to push Sheila away and taking the hit. Realizing he needs help, Sheila quickly jumps on and attacks the monster from behind, disrupting its barrier, which gives Schneider enough of an opening to cast a spell and defeat the monster. She quickly tends to the wound and says that she knows how he's actually worried for Yoko, but refuses to show it, explaining why he's in a hurry. Schneider quickly brushes it off, lifts her up like before, and punishes her by playing and biting her smoother than butter snoo. After everything she experienced from being manhandled, carried, and almost creamed, she convinces herself that she can still marry. But Schneider notices her reactions, realizes that she wants the magic wand, and teases her for it. He then puts her down, and as they enter a new chamber, Schneider warns Sheila to be on guard, as he starts to feel a headache after using so many extremely high-level spells. He claims that only he can use that many spells in one day, and Sheila recalls all of it and realizes how much he did. Just then, she notices a sword there, and wanting to help Schneider out, she picks it up, but it suddenly catches fire. As she struggles to hold on to it, Schneider takes it from her and she accidentally cuts him. He scolds her for what she did and says that it's a cursed sword set as a trap with poison on the blade. He collapses to the floor, and as Sheila is apologizing for her mistake, Schneider tells her to help him. When she asks how, he shows her his chiseled abs and asks that she sucks out all the poison in his body from the cut wound. Initially, Sheila hesitates to suck the poison, but remembering that it's her fault, she starts sucking like divorced mothers after a few margaritas and false promises. Suddenly, the cursed sword lights up, revealing a great demon god. Ephreet and Schneider realizes that they are screwed. Back with Gara, who has gotten Yoko now completely exposed, is excited to see Schneider against the demon god inside that sword. Yoko asks him why they are looking to resurrect the demon god, Anthrasax, and he tells her that they are planning to use her power to destroy the current world order, but also create a new kingdom for them to rule over. Yoko warns him that Anthrasax will just destroy everything, leaving nothing for them, but Gara teases her that they have a way to control Anthrasax. Then, Gara talks about the mismatch Schneider is now facing against Ephreet, explaining how, as a spirit and dark magic user who specializes in fire and wind, Schneider will struggle against Ephreet, who is from the fire elemental plane, meaning that if Schneider uses fire-based magic, it will backfire on him. Back with Schneider, he and Sheila are enduring the hell-like flames from Ephreet's magic, desperately blocking the heat with their shield barrier, which is slowly collapsing. Facing death, Sheila suggests that Schneider use a cooling water spell capable of stopping the heat, but Schneider says that he can't use them, as she never cared for any cooling element. Unlike his old pal, Kalsu, Ephreet scolds him for being a wizard who doesn't know any cold spells, mocking his arrogance and ignorance, and decides to turn the whole room into magma to end him. Schneider tells Sheila to wait in the barrier, and he steps out to face Ephreet face to face, right in the middle of the heat. Ephreet then uses his Hellion Flame spell, creating a heat so hot that the soldiers downstairs run into magma leaking from the battle. Gara and Yoko can feel the intensity from the battle, but realizing that Schneider is here, Yoko wonders which other virgin kissed him to wake him up. However, within the Great Fire, Schneider stands tall, surprising Ephreet, and Schneider uses a fire spell that takes advantage of the heat and blasts it at Ephreet, sending him flying straight into the next room. With the defeat, Ephreet returns inside the sword, shocking the ninjas who never thought he could ever be defeated. Schneider then grabs the sword, and while he has never used one as a wizard before, he swings it, destroying a wall, revealing Gara and Yoko's chamber. Seeing that Schneider is really here, Yoko is touched to know that he's here to save her. Gara praises Schneider for defeating Ephreet, but points out that he's out of energy to do more spells, extremely tired, and even poisoned. So he mocks Schneider for sacrificing everything just for some hoe like Yoko. However, Schneider is furious to see Yoko with her clothes torn off, and he says that it's cheating that Gara saw her before he did. Yoko calls him a freak for caring about that, while Gara is confused about who this prude is for caring about that. Gara then challenges Schneider to fight him for 5 minutes, so he can prove how much he has grown during the time Schneider was gone. Schneider agrees and Gara strikes first, blowing Schneider away into the next room. Gara charges again, forcing Schneider to dodge, all the while Yoko is worried, knowing that without his spells, Schneider is just a human being. Just then, Sheila shows up to cover and comfort her, assuring her that Schneider will win. But when she looks closer, Yoko wonders if Sheila was the one who kissed Lucian to wake up Schneider. Tired of using the cursed sword, he drops it and starts a spell, which people there know as venom. But his chanting takes too long, and Gara capitalizes by chopping Schneider's arm in the middle of a spell, thinking that he has won. But to his surprise, the spell still continues, and Schneider activates it, blasting Gara away, taking his arm in the process, trading an arm for an arm. Schneider taunts Gara for underestimating his greatness, and that injures Gara, so they stand face to face to prepare to go all out. However, Sheila knows that after a whole day of fighting, Schneider doesn't have enough energy to deliver one more powerful spell to defeat Gara. But she knows that he's doing this out of his love for Yoko, which makes her heart ache, realizing that he will never see her like he sees Yoko. But right beside her, Yoko is watching Sheila closely, wondering if she's in love with Schneider. Back with Gara, he knows he has to use something to rile up Schneider, so he uses Yoko and says that while Schneider was busy trying to get here, Gara has been busy experiencing the ecstasy of an unexplored honey cave that Yoko owned. Yoko claims that he's lying, but Schneider is already furious, so he uses everything he has and summons a legendary spell called Megadeath that creates a major fusion between two wind magics. The ninjas are afraid, and Gara tries to stop him, but Schneider blocks his attack and declares that with this spell, he will create a major force field capable of collapsing the whole castle. At that moment, everything and everyone collapses. But Sheila and Yoko find themselves protected by a barrier. The next thing they know is that Gara is under the rubble, and Schneider taunts him for thinking that the legendary Schneider is not capable of using one more spell. Seeing that Schneider hasn't ended him, Gara tells him that he has changed, and Schneider says the same, that Gara has softened up. Suddenly, Gara remembers his pet Lars and panics about where he is, but he pops up clinging onto Sheila, who hands him back to Gara. Yoko explains that Schneider also created a barrier to protect Lars, and Gara now truly believes that Schneider has changed, unlike the old him who would just let him and Lars die. With that, Gara announces his defeat to Schneider fair and square. Then, Schneider approaches Yoko, acting like he wants something. Knowing what he wants, Yoko thanks him for saving her and praises him. Suddenly, Schneider hugs her and says that even if she's not a virgin anymore, he will still love her. But that angers Yoko, and she calls him a creep for only thinking about that. When Schneider begs for mercy, Gara laughs, seeing him scared of a weak girl. Just then, the soldiers show up and Sheila is happy to see them safe. Then, Gara informs them that as they speak, their kingdom, Metallicana, is being attacked. And they all realize that this is just a distraction. Suddenly, someone calls out for Schneider, and when he looks behind him, it's Lars, capable of talking. Meanwhile, Kalsu is watching the battle over at the kingdom of Metallicana when a soldier runs in with news. He tells Kalsu that Gara's ninja castle has fallen and that Gara, along with his ninja army, has betrayed them to join with Schneider. Hearing this, Kalsu believes that Schneider used deceitful tricks to make him join, knowing that Gara is a simple man with the heart of a warrior. So he orders his goon to forward this message to the Third Army, led by Ni, whom Kalsu believes will never fall for Schneider's tricks, and that they need to whack Schneider dead before he gets stronger. Later, at the kingdom of Metallicana, they manage to hold off the Dark Rebel army and believe that they can negotiate peace. But the Grand Priest doubts that peace will happen with one of the 4 divine kings. Outside, Ni warns her men that peace is never an option, and this battle will only end with either the end of her army or the kingdom of Metallicana. Just then, a messenger arrives to inform Ni that Schneider is alive, shocking everyone, and that they must end him. Later, at her camp, she's furious when she learns that Gara betrayed them. But as she takes off her armor, revealing her dark elf features and lies on her bed, she feels conflicted about ending her once beloved Schneider. Suddenly, she enters a dream of the place she first met Schneider, and there Schneider appears. He steps closer to admire her, but she reminds her that they are now enemies. That annoys Schneider, and he tries to riz up Ni, reminding her how he used to make her squeal and love every part of her. But she knows that he's trying to manipulate her feelings, so she smacks him and reminds him that he broke her heart by building a harem roster of baddies in secret behind her back. She charges up her lightning spell, promising to end him for good, and blasts him, which carries on to her camp. She quickly demands her most trusted hitman and one of her generals, Ahri, and orders her to eliminate Schneider at all costs. Meanwhile, Schneider is walking along the woods with Lars, who laughs at Schneider for trying to raise up Ni after everything he did to her in the past. But Schneider kicks Lars and asks him why he's even following him around. Schneider says that Lars is better off with Gara or Yoko, but after seeing Schneider sneak away from the others after the battle, Lars refused to let him sneak off alone and believes that he has to keep an eye on him. That annoys Schneider, and he says that if Lars showed up as his previous form, Schneider would have sent him to hell. But Lars notices that Schneider has changed. Just then, they hear a woman screaming and running away from a giant spider. Lars warns Schneider that something is fishy, but Schneider refuses to stay still and saves the girl by obliterating the spider from existence. They find the talisman from the spider and conclude that a wizard summoned the spider nearby. The girl he saves then thanks him and offers to repay him. When Schneider looks at her features, he knows exactly what he wants from her. But then, she offers him to rest at her place, promising a good meal and a nice rest.
You know what time it is?
When they get to her castle, Schneider suspects that she's the daughter of a local lord, but Lars suspects that he's only here for some poontang pie. That night, he eats the food that the girl presented like he had never eaten before, and he claims that he eats food like he devours his woman, with viciousness. She asks what he was doing in the woods, and he says that he's there to take care of a prank his old friend did to him. Then in the bedroom, still awake, he talks to Lars, who warns him that everything is going too smoothly, but Schneider doesn't care. Just then the girl walks in and, looking like a present waiting to be opened, and she approaches Schneider, saying that in her family, there's a tradition to give a hero who saved their daughter's virginity. Schneider sees it as a jackpot and gets straight to work, giving her what 300 other women experienced before her. But before he gets to expand her domain, the girl sticks a talisman on his back and summons a spider to latch onto him. She explains that her real name is Ahri, one of the best assassins in the world, and one of the best wizards. She says that the talisman neutralizes his magic, making him a normal human. But before the spider crushes him, Schneider asks who she's working for, and Ahri reveals that she's working for Nee, who wants him dead. Then, the spider bites into him, crushing Schneider in its teeth, and Ahri celebrates, murdering Schneider with ease. But suddenly, Schneider pops up right behind her on the bed, saying that he was enjoying her cake show from behind and praises her for trying to whack him dead. She quickly realizes that it's an illusion spell, and Schneider blows up the spider like the one before. When she tries to use another talisman, Schneider controls it, turns it into a spider, and it turns back into Schneider, showing that she's still in his illusion. But instead of clapping her dead, he decides to clap her, so he first rizzes her up, saying that she's too beautiful to be murdered. Hearing that makes Ahri feel tingly inside. As for her whole life under Nee's leadership, she has never had anyone call her beautiful before. With that kind of charm, Ahri folds and asks him to go easy, and Schneider promises to do so, before turning her into a cream donut. The next morning, as Schneider is preparing to leave, Ahri warns him that Nee wants him dead badly, and she will send her other generals to finish the job, ones that are way stronger than Ahri. She begs Schneider to stay, not wanting her first time to die, but he assures her that he will meet her again, and at the next time, he will make her feel even better, leaving Ahri in tears and wishing that he is not her enemy. But on his walk, Lars asks Schneider how many rounds he and Ahri went through, but Schneider reveals that Ahri was done after he bit her ear, leaving Schneider with nothing but blue balls the whole night. Meanwhile, Nee receives news that Ahri has failed to finish Schneider and that she has disappeared. When she asks what happened, the messenger says that Ahri let Schneider walk away, but Nee knows exactly what happened, and that Schneider seduced her like any other woman he met, which angers Nee. Then, Schneider and Lars arrive at another kingdom, and there, they see statues, which they realize are people who have turned into stone. Lars warns him that they might be facing Medusa, but suddenly, Schneider is confronted by another warrior, a dude who reveals himself as one of Nee's generals, Kai. He then sends his army of orcs at Schneider, and while Lars is panicking, Schneider grabs him and focuses on another thing, asking Lars who is the bigger chick magnet between him and Kai. Lars says that it's him, but Schneider kicks him away, and uses his fire magic to incinerate the whole orc army out of spite, saying that Kai is nothing compared to a true player like him. Schneider then praises Kai for having the balls to try attacking the world's greatest wizard, but warns him that there's only one place in this world for a handsome Chad magician. Kai then strikes first with his sword, completely cutting Schneider to pieces, but Schneider pops up behind him, praising his attempt after using illusion magic. Lars informs Schneider that the sword technique Kai is using is a classic style, which is different than Gara's technique, and Schneider takes that information. Kai then tells Schneider that he wants to ask him questions, but Schneider refuses to answer anything and simply blasts him away with his magic. He laughs at how easy it is, but Kai pops up behind him, also using illusion magic, and demands to know what he did to her beloved Ahri to make her disappear and even betray them. Kai says that the three generals hold a bond stronger than blood, so Ahri would never betray them, but Schneider says that Ahri has fallen in love with him. That angers Kai, who Schneider suspects to be in love with Ahri, so Schneider informs Kai that he gave Ahri the tongue twister 300 before laying the almighty pipe. Kai strikes again, but this time, Schneider uses the cursed sword and uses Ephreet's power to smash Kai's armor. To his surprise, Kai is hiding melons and peaches, revealing that she is actually a woman, surprising Schneider. But Kai says that her being a woman changes nothing, and the only person who ever defeated her was Nee, so Schneider is nothing to her. Kai then activates the ancient spell Nee gave her and hits Schneider with it, which slowly turns his body into stone. Schneider laughs at her attempt and says that for a wizard like him, there will always be a spell to reverse her spell. But Kai laughs back at him, revealing that the spell she used was resurrected by Nee from ancient war gods. Hearing that, Schneider realizes that he's screwed, as the spell is considered a high ancient magic, making it impossible for him to break the spell using normal magic, especially not when the bottom half of his body is turned to stone. Lard tells him that to counter it, Schneider has to find which god is the source of the spell, but considering the number of gods out there, he knows he doesn't have enough time to find the right one. Suddenly, Kai prepares a fire spell, saying that after what Schneider did to Ahri's poor little honey cave, she can't let Schneider just turn into stone and die in peace. But Kai wants justice by completely obliterating him. She shoots the spell at him, but a spider gets in her way, and when a talisman drops, Kai realizes that someone saved him, and Ahri pops up, revealing that it was her. Ahri tells Kai that Schneider is someone stronger than Ni or even Kalsu, but Kai calls her a fool for falling for the first man she is close to, and says that Schneider is using her loyalty. Ahri insists that Schneider's strength is what even convinced Gara to betray them, but seeing that Kai refuses to open her eye, Ahri decides to fight. She uses her spiders to attack Kai, but Kai easily defeats the spiders, making Ahri realize just how much stronger Kai is. Kai then prepares a powerful spell, using the power of her god of war, Ying Wei, to completely finish Ahri and Schneider. But in that moment, Schneider laughs loudly, saying that Kai made a mistake. He suddenly breaks off from the stone curse, and says that Kai slipped up by saying the name of the god she got her powers from, which is a weaker god than the one Schneider got his powers from, which makes it easy for him to counter all of her ancient high magic from now on. Seeing that Schneider is in his birthday suit, Kai is disgusted and wants to slice it off with her magic, but Schneider easily blocks it after knowing the name of the god she follows. Schneider counters with a barrage of magical arrows, hitting Kai and destroying her clothes, blessing our eyes with her plots. Schneider tells her that he was going easy, but now he will use his almighty pickle to teach her a lesson. But before he gets to fill her up like a jelly donut, Ahri pops in, begging him not to hurt her, but in that moment, Kai uses this chance to summon a creature using a special crystal. Schneider recognizes the creature, knowing that this creature is the one who turned all those people into stones, and he quickly orders Ahri to stand back. When the creature blows his magical smoke, Schneider pushes Ahri away, taking the hit, and lets his arm turn into stone. Schneider knows that the crystal she's holding is the one controlling the creature, and he tries to find a way to get it off her and destroy it. The creature then once more blows his smoke, but in that moment, the smoke blows back because of the wind, proving that Schneider's plot armor is working. Kai tries to run away from the smoke, but it causes her crystal to drop and break, causing her to lose control of the creature, and attacks her. But before the creature sends her off to a Michael Jackson concert, Schneider intervenes and destroys the creature. Seeing that Schneider saved her, Kai begs him to end her life, or she will come after him again after she heals herself. However, Schneider picks her up, welcomes the challenge, but tells her that he will heal her for now. In that moment, she feels the warmth of his body, making her question why her heart is beating so fast. Schneider then puts her down and tells her that he will suck the poison out of her body, and when he does so, she screams out happy noises, making it look like something that will get this video demonetized. Afterward, Kai calms down, and she warns him that the third general is stronger than both her and Ahri combined. She adds that the guy is so strong he made himself immortal, and that there are only a few spells Schneider can use against him. Schneider teases her for caring about him, but she assures him that she's only doing this so she can be the one who claps his life. Schneider then tells Ahri to take care of her friend and leaves them. But as he's walking away, Kai acknowledges what Ahri was feeling, and that Schneider is truly the legendary wizard, all the while they both secretly want his slimy pickle. However, sometime later, Schneider can feel the effect of using too much magic, and Lucian starts to take over his body. Suddenly, Schneider turns back into the soy boy, and Lars panics, knowing they're in the middle of enemy territory. Meanwhile, back in the kingdom of Metallicana, the Grand Priest informs the king that Yoko and some soldiers are on the search for Schneider, which is a fate that her own mother used to have to face. Just then, a servant pops in informing them that their defense has been breached, leaving them vulnerable. But just as all hope looks lost, Gara and his ninja army pop up, assisting them against the army of monsters. Back in the woods, Lucian and Lars are looking for Yoko, and by accident, they find her bathing in the lake. When she sees him, she wastes no time running at him and embracing him, even kissing him. But suddenly, the soldiers pop up to check if everything is okay, and seeing that she's in her plotful form, she eats them all away. After calming down, they set up a campfire, and the soldiers asked her about whether this little soy boy was actually Schneider. When Yoko says that he is, they are in disbelief. But then they notice Lars, the little dragon beside them, and when Yoko says that he is Gara's pet, they all feel suspicious that this might be a trap. However, Yoko assures them that he is a friend and that Gara is actually not a bad guy. But now knowing that the dragon's name is Lars, they comment about how Sheila's older brother was also named Lars, who was the warrior that used a forbidden spell that turned him into a dragon knight in order to defeat Schneider 15 years ago. They add that both Lars and Schneider died at the same time, But the death of the prince was never confirmed, which makes them think that maybe this little dragon is Lars' reincarnation. Elsewhere, in a vampire's castle sits Count Diamond, who is being presented with virgin girls for him to devour. Count Diamond boasts that, unlike the two other generals who got rizzed up, he won't be defeated by Schneider, as he is a vampire that's immortal. However, Diamond points out that one of the girls is not a virgin, so instead, he approaches his stupid servant and sucks his blood in her place, which he finds to taste disgusting, just like Salt Bay's cooking. In the woods, the Count's servants are all hunting down virgin women, and among them is a werewolf. And near him are Yoko and the others, and when they confront each other, the werewolf smells Yoko's blood, realizes she is a virgin, and wants her for himself. He pushes away all the soldiers, leaving Yoko vulnerable. But in that moment, Schneider himself pops up in Lucian's body, telling this stupid mutt to get his hands away from his beloved women. The werewolf initially laughs at this little soy boy, but when he feels his tremendous aura, he realizes that this is not a normal human. Yoko realizes that this is the same phenomenon as when Gara tried to kidnap her. But Schneider is now even more aggressive, telling this stupid dog to go back to his master and lick his feet like the good dog he is. That offends and anger the wolfman, so he grabs Lucian and starts pouncing on him. Yoko watches in horror, realizing that while he is Schneider, his body is still Lucian's. But suddenly, Lucian punches a hole through the werewolf's body, shocking him, and drags him through the mud, telling the dog to apologize for his pathetic, chopped existence. Then, with magic, he reads out a spell, one that the werewolf knows only Schneider owns, and in that moment, Lucian blows the werewolf's body. The others could only watch as Schneider interrogates the werewolf, demanding he tell where the Count lives. Schneider knows that Diamond is a vampire who likes to drink a virgin's blood, but he also knows that Count Diamond used magic to turn himself into a vampire so he can be stronger than Kai and Ahri. Schneider demands that the werewolf confirm it, and when he does, Schneider steps on him, smushing his brain to the floor. Yoko then scolds him for being too cruel and demands that he tell her where he has been. When he refuses to say, she asks him who Kai and Ahri are, but Schneider refuses to say, knowing what he did to both of those baddies. Unbeknownst to them, Count Diamond is watching all along, now learning that Schneider has not been fully resurrected, and instead is in the body of a soy boy. In that moment, Count Diamond and his goons jump down, knowing that he can defeat Schneider in his current form. Yoko and the others watch in fear, wondering what kind of sick, deranged dude is dressed up like him. But suddenly, Schneider starts squeaking, realizing that Lucian is taking over the body, and the next moment, Schneider is gone and only Lucian is here. Seeing this chance, Count Diamond captures all of them and brings them to his castle. There, Lucian is held inside a cage while Yoko is being prepared to be eaten due to her virgin blood. But behind her are two other virgins, Kai and Ahri, whom Diamond claims they have succeeded in capturing. He calls the two general baddies traitors for folding to Schneider and his almighty pickle, and congratulates his servant for managing to capture them. But without breaking a sweat, both girls break their handcuffs and state that they purposefully get themselves captured so they can face him. Seeing that they just got fooled, Count Diamond is furious, so he sucks up his servant's blood once again, even though he's begging for mercy, leaving him dry and crispy. The two girls then attack first, believing that they managed to defeat Count Diamond, but to their shock, and despite their best shots, Diamond's vampire body regenerates, and he calls the girls fools for not knowing that he is immortal. Without any options, the girls pull out a cross and a garlic, believing it will defeat the vampire, and for a moment, it seems like it has an effect. But Diamond quickly reveals that they are stupid for believing in fairy tales, and he grabs Kai. He bites into her, sucking out her blood, saying that it's tasty, sweet, and creamy. He states that with their virgin blood, he will become stronger than Emperor Ni or even Kalsu. Kai starts screaming in pain, and Ahri tries to save her but gets herself eaten. But both girls only laugh, saying that while he will become stronger, he can never defeat Schneider. But Count Diamond laughs once more, revealing to the girls that the Schneider they're looking for is right above them, inside a cage, still imperfect in his resurrection. Yoko thinks hard on how to wake him up without her, while Lars finally understands that all those years ago, the Grand Priest, Sodto, put both of Schneider's and Lucian's souls and energy into one body, making it two entities in one person. Back in the kingdom of Metallicana, the soldiers are in awe seeing the ninjas battling the army of monsters and how skillful they are with their swords. But among the ninjas, they are even more amazed at their leader, Gara. Using a giant shuriken, Gara chops the monsters in half with ease, but seeing that the battle is not over, he wonders where Schneider is. Meanwhile, Count Diamond is laughing at all of them for having their hopes in Schneider, and he kicks Kai, saying that after he drinks their blood, he will be unstoppable. But suddenly, Lucian starts transforming into Schneider, surprising all of them. While still in Lucian's body, Schneider demands to be released from his cage. Yoko watches as both Lucian and Schneider are battling to control the body, and Lucian begs her to do something and help him. But seeing this, Lars realizes that maybe two entities can exist at the same time. Diamond only laughs at his attempt to escape, and he claims that after he drinks Ahri's delicious virgin blood, he will become stronger than everybody. He starts chasing her like a total creep, but suddenly, Yoko kicks him in the face, saying that as long as she's here, she will not let him get near her. Out of anger, Count Diamond kicks her to the floor, and seeing his beloved Yoko treated like that, Schneider forcefully takes over the body and escapes from the cage. The Count and his soldiers are cowering in fear at the sight of the legendary wizard, but Schneider tells them that he will clap them dead after what he did to the future mother of his children, leaving Yoko flustered and Ahri surprised. Schneider wastes no time activating a lightning-based spell and hitting the soldiers and Count Diamond, which Ahri and Lars know is effective against vampires. But to their surprise, Diamond is unscathed, and he laughs at Schneider's ability. Diamond then asks Schneider if he thinks he's the strongest in the world, and Schneider thinks that he is, so Diamond challenges him, saying that only one of them can have an ego that big to believe that they are actually the strongest. Diamond then shoots the first shot and activates his spell, blasting it at Schneider, which, to everyone's surprise, leaves him nothing but a piece of meat. The soldiers are in awe seeing their master's ability, and they promise to follow him till the end of time. Hearing that, Diamond orders them to capture his beloved virgins and present him so he can suck on their juicy, creamy virgin blood. Ahri fights back, burning the soldiers, preventing them from touching Kai while she's unconscious. But the Count laughs at her, saying that it's pointless for them to run away, as Schneider is no longer here to help them. He starts laughing loudly at what remains of Schneider, but suddenly Schneider pops up behind him, laughing alongside him. It shocks the Count, and when he looks down, he sees that it was his servant that he blasted to pieces, and Schneider tells him that his lightning spell works so well it completely fried her nervous system, stopping him from shooting straight ever again. Out of frustration, Diamond starts spinning like a Beyblade and shoots his magic all around him, almost hitting his own soldiers. But Schneider stands tall, claiming that, like in every movie ever created, those juiced up, ugly muscleheads like Diamond will always lose to the handsome Chad that is Schneider. With ease, Schneider catches his blast, transforming it into his own, and shoots it back at Diamond, but the Count laughs when Schneider misses. However, when he looks back, the hole Schneider created lets the sunlight in, a weakness to every vampire, and in that moment, the Count turns crispy and his head falls off his neck. The others celebrate as if they have already won, but Schneider says that they are not done, and in that moment, out of the ashes from Diamond's body comes a bat who is Count Diamond. He tells Schneider that he is immortal, and in time he will return, but Schneider refuses to take any risk, so he yanks Diamond from the sky and puts him on the floor. He tells Diamond that he knows vampires will eventually return to their former form in a couple of days, so to prevent him from doing anything dangerous, Schneider decides to plant a parasite inside of him. He rips a little flesh from his wings, casts an extremely dark, terrifying spell, turning the little flesh into a blue living goo. He then warns Diamond that if he tries anything funny, he will turn into a toad, and if he tries to get the parasite off his body, he will die. Brutally, Schneider shoves the parasite inside Diamond, saying that if he were to go against him, he would turn into a useless, weak frog. Count Diamond can only cry and scream, and when Schneider lets him go, he flies away. After seeing such cruelty, the other soldiers run away in fear. Seeing that the battle is over, Ahri quickly runs and embraces him, saying that Kai is injured, so she needs his help. But when he checks her, he finds that she's okay, so he turns his attention to Yoko and starts licking where she got kicked. Ahri watches in jealousy, so she asks Schneider who Yoko is, and to everyone's surprise, Schneider fully says that Yoko is his future baby mama, which he will turn into a cream donut. You could quickly fix the misunderstanding, saying that there's nothing between her and Schneider, but Ahri focuses on the other things, and she asks Schneider if he was lying when he called her beautiful the other night when they were in bed together. Schneider quickly reminds her that they never go all the way, but Yoko slaps him, saying that it's not nice to treat a woman that coldly. Back at the kingdom of Metallicana, Gara and his ninja soldiers wipe the floor with the enemies. Meanwhile, Kalsu and the two other divine kings, Abigail and Nee, watch the battle unfolding and see their former fellow divine king betraying them. Nee insists on sending herself to confront Schneider, but after seeing her three generals getting defeated, and some even betraying them, Abigail is suspicious that she would do the same, considering that she was once Schneider's little plaything. Nee is insulted by his words, so Abigail offers Nee to make a contract to be under his control to ensure she won't betray them, and Nee gladly accepts to prove her worth. Then Abigail commences the same spell ritual that Schneider did earlier to Diamond, putting a parasite inside Nee's nail, and warning her that she will turn into a toad if she betrays them. After Nee leaves, Kalsu tells Abigail that he went a bit too far with Nee, but Abigail assures him that with the relationship between Schneider and Nee in the past, the spell is necessary. Abigail then talks about Schneider, and Kalsu mentions that, unlike who he was 15 years ago, Schneider has changed drastically into someone who doesn't murder his enemies, as seen by how Gara and the 3 generals are still alive. But Abigail tells him that despite his changes, they will have to quickly end him before he causes them trouble, knowing that they have to build their magical kingdom by resurrecting the evil god, Anthrasax. But with Nee on his tail, they will use her as a distraction, while they will aim to break the 3 other seals. However, Abigail adds that the only way for Nee to break the curse is by grabbing the spell target's heart while still breathing, which means that he has to rip Schneider's breathing heart straight from his chest. Knowing this, Abigail laughs, as it will become a bloodbath between the two, and whatever result they get, it is an advantage for them. The next day, Yoko and Schneider are on their way back to the kingdom of Metallica, but Ahri stops Schneider before leaving, and Schneider comforts her, saying that Metallicana and the temple where she's staying are only a day's travel away. So if she ever needs a slimy pickle and a magnificent tongue, she can always get it. Yoko then tells Ahri that she wishes Kai a quick recovery, and Ahri thanks her for it. Before she leaves, Ahri warns them that out of the 4 divine kings, the Lightning Empress, Nee, is the strongest of them all. But as she walks away, Ahri silently wishes that Schneider would help Nee. Then on the carriage, Ahri acknowledges that Schneider will never look at her the same way he looks at Yoko, but seeing how kind Yoko is as a person, she knows that she never stood a chance, despite her love for him. Meanwhile, Yoko tells Schneider that Ahri and Kai are good girls, so he should never try to pump and dump them. Schneider teases her for being jealous, but Yoko smacks him and tells him that it's time to go home. Back at the kingdom of Metallicana, Gara is cleaning down the house with the orcs and the monsters on top of his wyvern. Suddenly, lightning strikes out of nowhere, and when he looks up, he sees Nee on top of his griffin, striking him down with her thunder blade. She asked him why he betrayed the 4 divine kings, and Gara simply says that it's more fun being with Schneider. She expresses her disappointment in him, but Gara believes that Nee should join Schneider's team with him. When she charges at him, Gara recognizes the sword and quickly blocks her, preventing himself from getting electrocuted and becoming crispy. She praises him for managing to block an attack from her sword, but Gara and his ninja soldiers recognize the sword as the legendary lightning sword, Regeneration, which is capable of splitting mountains. Realizing that he's outmuscled, Gara uses his knives and shurikens on her, forcing her to dodge to the sky, but there, the 2 monsters are battling, sending her flying away. In that moment, Gara strikes and manages to slice her into 2, but while his team celebrates, he knows well that it's not so simple. He sees that what he attacked was a goblin, and that Nee was using illusion. From the skies, she jumps down and swings her blade, completely slicing Gara and splitting the whole bridge in half. Both the monster army and the ninja army are in shock at the battle that they are witnessing. While Nee, she blows about having the legendary lightning blade, believing that it's enough to defeat Schneider if she must. But to her annoyance, Gara is still alive, and this time he's using Naruto's shadow clone jutsu, making himself into 7 different clones, with only one being the real him. Nee then charges her lightning sword, and to counter it, Gara destroys his own armor, knowing that it's useless against her thunder. Gara then gets in a pose and position of unleashing the true power of his blade, Murasame, using a ninja spell called True Majinkan. Nee and the ninja soldiers watch in awe, seeing that the attack is faster than the speed of sound. However, Nishi locks in, knowing that among the 7 clones, only one of them is the true Gara, meaning only one of the attacks is the real attack. Just before the impact hits, she sees it and blocks it with her lightning blade, shocking Gara. But as she is desperately trying to block it, her sword starts to crack, and unable to hold it fully, it blows up, and when the dust settles, her sword is completely broken. She praises Gara and his blade, and seeing that she's down, his ninja soldiers and the priests at the castle celebrate his win. Princess Sheila joins in the celebrations and silently thanks Gara for the victory. But the Grand Priest, Sodto, reminds her that they still have to protect the second seal. The priests wonder why Gara suddenly fought for them, and Nee asks him the same thing, questioning why he would betray their goal of achieving the perfect wizard utopia. But Gara tells her that he never cared about the utopia and only wanted some fun. Hearing that angers her, so she quickly creates magic missiles, which Gara easily blocks, but that she leaps, and using her broken sword, She explains that it doesn't cut with its blade. They face each other mid-air once more, but this time, with the bladeless lightning sword on her side, she cuts through Gara's blade in his body. She explains that the lightning blade cannot be blocked by any sword, and that with this, she claims her victory over his life, or if she can really murder her old love. But Nee assures him that for their perfect utopia, she will eliminate Schneider. Sheila prays for Schneider to save him, just as Nee is about to end Gara. But before she gets to do it, someone attacks them from a distance, saving Gara. When they look who it is none other than Schneider himself, arriving at the scene just in time. When Schneider and Nee finally see each other, Yoko also gets to see what Schneider's old lover looks like and acknowledges that she looks beautiful. While on the other side, Nee sees Yoko beside Schneider and concludes that he still hasn't changed, still having hot women by his side, just like how it used to be when he was busy clapping some other cheeks behind her back, while she had to wait at home for his return, which broke her heart. But suddenly, Schneider disappears from Yoko's side and pops up behind Nee, surprising her. He then tells her that she shouldn't target him, and using his manly touches, he reminds her of the things that they used to do to break the bed and do hot cardio. Nee remembers it all, knowing that Schneider knows all of her hot spots. She accuses him of doing the same thing to Ahri and Kai, but Schneider rizzes her up, saying that he always loved her the most, especially after being with her for 100 years. She slowly folds, but as she's about to kiss him, her nail turns purple, and she remembers the promise she made to Abigail, and the spell that he put on her, which would turn her into a toad if she chose to betray them and open her heart to Schneider once more. So she quickly gets off him, calls her Griffin, and flies off, warning them that once she gets her army back, she will make sure that the kingdom of Metallicana will fall. But as she flies away, she feels conflicted about her own feelings, knowing that there's no place he hasn't touched and all the emotions she had for him. She then cries, convincing herself that after he destroyed her dream of reaching Utopia and ruining her students, she will end his life. The priests celebrate her leaving, but Princess Sheila and Schneider know that there's something off about her. Later that night, while Gara is recovering, he warns Schneider that the Nee he knew from years ago has changed and that this Nee is way stronger than the one he faced before. But hearing that, Yoko assumes that Gara knows Nee, so she wonders what actually happened between her and Schneider. The next day, while the castle is being repaired, Yoko decides to help out in the kitchen, serving food for the soldiers to lift up their spirits. But then Schneider pops up within the soldiers' food line, and when it's his turn to get food, Yoko gives him a little, which confuses Schneider. He simply eats it quickly and gets back in the line. But when it's his turn to get food again, she gives him the same amount of food. Out of frustration and hunger, Schneider asks her why she's angry at him. So Yoko sits him down on the floor like a dog and explains that, after what she saw yesterday, where he tried to progress the plot with Nee, she's convinced that he's been doing that with all the baddies he met along the way. Schneider reminds her that she told him that she doesn't care if he does that with anyone, but she reminds him not to be a schmuck who pumps and dumps women like they're toys. But in that moment, Schneider realizes he's so close to her snoo-snoo, so he can't help but sniff like a puppy, and tries to charm her, which earns him a slap on the face and an elbow. Meanwhile, the Grand Priest and Princess Sheila are meeting with Sheila's grandmother, who was the person who sealed Dark Schneider inside Lucian all those years ago. They ask the grandma how Schneider could break her seal by himself, but the old lady informs them that while Schneider got stronger over the past few years, the seal is completely intact and is in perfect condition. They are confused about how he managed to break it, but the grandmother tells them of a possibility that maybe Schneider has found himself in love, which is the only way to break the seal from within. Suddenly, the crystal ball shows something else, and to their shock, it's a vision from the future, showing that Schneider will die with his heart ripped from him. Meanwhile, Yoko is replacing Gara's bandages, and she thinks about how she went too far in scolding Schneider. Gara notices her worries and tells her that Schneider is at a disadvantage against Nee, explaining that a battle between two wizards who are using the same kind of magic will end with one of them dying. Yoko quickly leaves the room, thinking hard about what she just heard, worrying that Schneider and Lucian will both die. Just then, she runs into Princess Sheila embracing Schneider, so she decides to eavesdrop on them. Sheila informs Schneider what she just saw in the crystal ball, and asks why he and Nee would try to end each other, even though they're very close, even living with each other for 100 years. Hearing this, Yoko suspects that Sheila has feelings for Schneider, and Sheila suggests that Schneider should avoid this fight, not wanting him to die. Back with Granny, she informs the Grand Priest that this fight is inevitable, as deep down, Nee is holding deep hatred and anger against Schneider, ensuring that in their future, they will fight to the death. Meanwhile, Schneider assures Sheila that nobody will die and he will survive, but Sheila expresses how pain she feels every time he hurts himself for the kingdom. In that moment, Schneider starts laughing, telling Sheila that he's not fighting for the kingdom, but he's fighting for himself, as his goal does not change, and he still wants to conquer the world. However, because of Kalsu and the others wanting the same thing, he has to eliminate every one of them in order for him to be the one and only world conqueror. Then, Schneider grabs Sheila close, saying that there's a risk of visiting a man's room at night, like presenting a steak in front of a lion. He prepares to devour her, and Sheila tells him that he can have her body anytime he wants, as long as he doesn't go and fight Nate. But before he gets to expand her honey domain, Yoko barges in to stop him and throws Lars at him. But because of it, it makes him look out the window, and in that moment, he sees Nate right outside with her spell ready, and she activates Megadeath, destroying the castle. Gara wakes up from his sleep, shocked to see that Nate is using Schneider's Megadeath spells, while Schneider is outside, knowing that Nate is behind this. Sheila and Yoko are in disbelief, seeing the castle destroyed, while Lars and Schneider are in disbelief, seeing her capable of using Megadeath. Schneider tries to confront Nate, but Sheila begs him not to go, not wanting him to die, and Yoko knows that if Schneider were to battle his old lover, he might not come back. However, Schneider suddenly asks Yoko to give him some money, and when she does, he flips it and says that he promises to come back and return it back to her. Suddenly, Nate flies down with her griffin, and Schneider tells her she has gone too far. But Gara manages to see her and sees that it's now restored, which means big trouble for Schneider. But then Schneider uses a spell to help him fly so he can reach Nate, and seeing this, she counters by using a spell that he doesn't know, creating almost like a black hole that sucks up all magical energy around it. In that moment, the hole sucks Schneider's energy, causing him to fall, and Gara knows that what Nate is after is to force Schneider to go into a sword fight with her. Mage attacks from above, and Schneider tries to counter, but the hole sucks up his fire once again, leaving him vulnerable. Gara watches in frustration, wanting to help him, but suddenly from the skies, Ephreet shows up to back Schneider up. The fire demon god claims that after Schneider defeated him, he is now the rightful owner of the fire blade, so Ephreet will do anything to protect his owner. He turns himself into the fire sword, giving Schneider a weapon and a fighting chance against Nate. The two of them attack each other, but instead of targeting her, Schneider targets the griffin, slicing it in half, forcing Nate to fight on land. Nate praises him for being able to tame the fire demon god Ephreet, and uses the fire sword, but she claims that the thunder beast inside her sword, Nu, is stronger than his. The ninjas watch in awe of seeing the two legendary blades face each other, and they believe that the fire sword is stronger than the thunder sword. But Gara informs them that while the fire sword is indeed stronger than the thunder sword, Schneider is not a swordsman, unlike Nate, who trained all her life, which gives him a huge disadvantage. Gara believes that this battle will end on the first strike, and he knows that Schneider knows that as well, and after a long standoff, Nate strikes first with the same spell that almost took Gara's life, so Gara screams at him, warning him about it. Schneider uses everything he has to block the attack, but in the middle of it, Ephreet talks to him, saying that while he doesn't know it yet, the world needs his power more than ever. Suddenly, Ephreet moves by himself, grabbing onto the Thunder Beast and sacrificing them both into the hole to ensure that Schneider has the best chance to win. Schneider is furious at the sacrifice, but at that moment, Nate takes her chance and strikes Schneider straight to the head, causing him to bleed heavily. Everyone screams at him, but Yoko tells herself that Schneider is immortal. Suddenly, Schneider wakes back up, grabbing some cakes, and Gara realizes that after the magical hole disappeared, Schneider gained back his defense barrier. However, Gara knows that without their swords, it will turn into a magic fight, and with that, one of them will die, and one of them will be bleeding heavily by the end of it. In that moment, Schneider tells Nate that he is no longer her friend, and that he will have her life. They both get some separation, activate a flying spell, and fly to the sky, both at the same time. They then use the same spell on each other, causing an explosion. As Gara is watching, he knows that if one of them moves recklessly, it will be their end. But to his surprise, Schneider casts a spell early, the same one he used to defeat Ephreet. Nate laughs at his attempt and uses the same spell. Gara warns them that both of them will die, but before the moment of impact, Schneider doubts himself, remembering the moments he spent with Nate. She strikes, exploding a nuke-like explosion at Schneider, sending him flying straight into the castle. Gara knows exactly that Schneider's feelings faltered, which cost him, and while he wants to help him, his ninja goons stop him from getting involved. Everyone watches in fear, worrying that Schneider is dead and that the kingdom of Metallicana has fallen. But Yoko is convinced that he will return, as she always taught him to return money whenever he borrows some. But suddenly, from under the castle's rubble, a light beams out into the sky, and Schneider reveals himself untouched and unscathed. He claims that the puny spell like that could never hurt him, and that he's chosen by the gods to rule the world. But suddenly he bleeds out, and Gara scolds him for trying to act tough. Ni then says that with this, she will end him and build the utopia they've been dreaming of. But Schneider tells her that she doesn't have what it takes. That angers her, so she charges up a life-taking thunder spell. But before she strikes him, Schneider asks her to stop and tells her that he loves her. He assures her that he always has and he always will, but that angers Ni much more, saying that Schneider is nothing but a womanizer who is in love with every woman he finds hot and clappable. Out of anger, she casts a spell, summoning multiple thunder spirits. She and Schneider float, and Schneider counters her spell by summoning his own fire spirits, which Gara knows are the only ones that can face thunder spirits. The spirits then go against each other, blasting each other in the sky, creating a fireworks-like show. Schneider begs her to stop, saying that her utopian dream is a lie. But she believes that the utopian dream that Kalsu promised her is a place where magicians can live free without war, poverty, or hatred. Schneider calls it nonsense, saying that it's part of being human to have hatred. But Ni says that he could never understand. She recalls how, as a dark elf, she was bullied and discriminated against, leaving her body in bruises. Then, just when she thought she had found her elf family, they left her too, among the burned ruins, and from that hunger and starvation, she learned and desired a place for dark elves like her to live in peace. She goes for the strike to end him, but Schneider catches her hand and reminds her how she was the one who grabbed his rope on the day they met. He begs her to remember how he helped her find her peaceful place. But Ni tells him that she has never forgotten about it for the past 15 years, not even for a day. When she looks at him, she folds and Schneider goes for the kiss on the lips. But before the lips connect, the parasite reacts, turning from blue to purple, strangling Ni further, forcing her to fight. Elsewhere, Abigail and Kalsu watch the battle, and Abigail laughs at Ni for slowly losing to her feelings. He states that after purple, it will turn into red, and when it happens, Ni will turn into an ugly toad. But Kalsu walks away, and when asked why, he explains that if Ni fails, then one of them will have to face Schneider, so it's better if they start preparing. Back with Ni, she gets Schneider away when he tries to comfort her, saying that he probably did that with all the hundreds of women he's been with. They both activate their spirits again, but unlike before, Schneider's fire spirits are losing control, and Gara realizes that his emotions are faltering. Ni strikes him once more, sending him flying into the rubble, and the others watch in horror. Ni remembers how Schneider used to try to calm her the same way that he just did, and she sees it as a manipulation. She convinces herself that to Schneider, she's just another pair of sweet cheeks he gets to taste, but to her, Schneider was her everything. Suddenly, her nail turns red, and her parasite reacts to it. In that moment, Yoko senses that Ray's aura is not evil anymore, but it instead resembles a crying little girl, and Gara notices that her thunder spirits are losing control, flying everywhere, attacking everything around them. One of the spirits attacks Yoko, and Schneider screams her name, but to his relief, Yoko is fine, while Sheila is knocked out cold. The spirits then attack Nay, but she blocks all of them with her barrier, and she realizes that she has gone too far. She then challenges Schneider to one more spell to end it all between them, and after what her spirits almost did to Yoko, Schneider refuses to back down this time. They both activate a destruction spell, one that is guaranteed to end the other's life. The Grand Priest and the Grandma arrive, and the old lady is still convinced that this will end with Schneider's death. The clash of the two spells blinds everyone around them with its bright light and destructive fiery force. But within the destruction, Yoko can see that Nay doesn't truly want for Schneider to die, and it looks more like she's crying for him, begging him to end it all. In her heart, she's begging Schneider to end her life, not wanting to turn into a toad before that. Yoko begs Gara or anyone to do something to stop this, but Gara tells her that in the middle of this, nothing can be done. Suddenly, right before Schneider manages to win the clash of spells, he hears and sees Lucian beside him, scolding him for being blind and telling him to look forward, to see the woman who once loved him in great pain. In that moment, Schneider sees the spell on her finger, and he knew that Abigail was responsible for this, so he screams his name, cursing him. When the blinding spell stops, Ni is shocked to see that she's still alive. But suddenly, Schneider walks in front of her, acknowledges her pain, and rips out his own beating heart to free her from the cursed spell, which will be continued in the next part. If you watched this anime recap until the end, comment down below the ultimate baddie Rizzler. And if you love anime recaps like this, watch this video.